The world of pharmaceuticals? Wow, it's a high-stakes game, right? Every single step is under a microscope. You've got this maze of super complex research, production that has to be controlled down to the last detail, and just a mountain of regulations. So the big question is, how do companies even navigate all that without getting completely lost? I mean, just think about it for a second. You're trying to manage millions of documents. You have to track every single ingredient that comes through the door. And on top of all that, you have to prove to regulators like the FDA that every single process is validated and perfectly under control. How, how is that even possible? For a lot of companies, it's a huge, huge challenge. Really, it all boils down to three key things. You've got complexity, and it's immense. You've got compliance, and it has to be perfect. And you've got control. It needs to be absolute. If you drop the ball on just one of those, the whole operation could be at risk. That's just the daily reality in the pharma world. So, okay, what's the solution here? Well, more and more, the industry is turning to this really powerful tool, an integrated enterprise resource planning system. You'll hear it called an ERP, but not just any ERP, one that's built specifically for these unique pharma challenges. And that's where a company like Royal Quality Pillars comes in. They specialize in this exact area. They've built a tech-driven ERP solution from the ground up, with one industry in mind: pharmaceuticals. Now, let's be super clear. A pharma ERP isn't just some off-the-shelf software. No way. It's a single integrated platform that's designed to connect every single part of the company. And what's the goal? Well, it's all about streamlining your operations, locking down that regulatory compliance, and at the end of the day, making everything more productive. All right, so we've set the stage. Now let's break down how this solution actually works. First, we're going to look at the foundation. That's quality and compliance. Then we'll get into the engine room, production and distribution. And finally, we'll pull it all together and see what makes this unified approach so powerful. Okay, first up, let's talk about the absolute bedrock of any pharma company: quality and compliance. You have to get this right. These systems are the foundation for building that unshakable regulatory control that we keep talking about. So pillar number one is the document management system, or DMS. You can kind of think of this as the mission control for all your paperwork. It handles everything, from your standard operating procedures, your SOPs, all the way to those supercritical batch manufacturing records that track the entire life of a medicine. And a system like this, it solves some really big problems. With everything centralized, your whole team is working from the exact same playbook. Every single change is tracked, so you have a crystal clear history of what happened and when. And this is crucial. Role-based access gives you a secure audit trail. That's an absolute non-negotiable for things like the FDA's 21 CFR Part 11, which is all about electronic records and signatures. Okay, let's step into the lab. This is where we find our second pillar, the Laboratory Information Management System, or LIMS. What this does is digitize the entire quality control process. We're talking about tracking samples, managing all your instrument calibrations, and making sure every single test result is securely recorded and validated. All right, our next pillar is actually a two-for-one. It combines a couple of really critical functions. So on one side, you've got the Quality Management System, or QMS. This is your command center for when things don't go as planned. It's how you manage deviations, investigate issues, and track your corrective and preventative actions, your CAPAs. Then on the other side, you've got the Learning Management System, or LMS. This makes sure every employee is trained on the right procedures, and it keeps all those training records ready to go for an audit. So once you've got quality and compliance totally locked down, we can turn our attention to the operational backbone. These are the systems that manage the physical creation and movement of the actual products. And here we've got two more pillars that really work hand in hand. First is material management, or MM. This is all about the stuff, right? It handles purchasing raw materials from your approved vendors and tracks every single item in your inventory. Then you have production planning, or PP. This system takes all that data and maps out the entire manufacturing schedule, everything from the master recipes right down to the capacity of each and every machine. The benefits here, they're huge and they're tangible. You get super precise inventory and batch tracking. That means you have full traceability from the moment a raw material arrives to the second a finished product leaves. You can switch to electronic batch records, which is just a massive leap forward in efficiency and accuracy. And, of course, you can make sure you're only ever buying from qualified, approved suppliers. So if you look at the whole workflow, it's actually pretty simple when it's all connected. It starts with managing your materials, that flows right into planning production, and that connects directly to your sales and distribution team, all the way from the initial order to the final dispatch. It's just one seamless connected process. And this brings us to what might be the most important point of all. Why does this integration thing matter so much? It's because having all these different systems on one single platform, all talking to each other, that is the real key to achieving operational excellence.
Just look at this flow. This is integration in action. The system that's managing your purchasing and your inventory, that's material management, is feeding data directly, automatically into the system that manages customer orders, sales, and distribution. The information just flows. There are no data silos. No one is manually re-entering information. It creates one single source of truth for the entire company.
And the result of all this integration? Well, it's hitting those 3 critical goals we talked about right at the beginning. Unshakable quality, guaranteed compliance, and a whole new level of operational efficiency. This really ties back to the core mission here, which is to be a trusted partner for any pharma company that wants to achieve this level of excellence with their ERP. So let me just leave you with this one thought. We started this whole conversation by framing compliance as this massive challenge, right? A maze you have to navigate. But what if the right integrated system could flip that completely on its head? What if it could transform compliance from your biggest hurdle into your greatest